Have you ever put on an old song and felt it just hit differently? Like it has more soul? You're not alone. It feels like we're living in an era where the very essence of music is fading away, and I think I know why. Let's take a trip back in time, starting with the 70s. This was the golden age of analog. Think Led Zeppelin, Queen, and Pink Floyd. They weren't just writing songs, they were crafting epic soundscapes. The instruments were real, raw, and full of life. You could feel the hum of the amplifiers, the rich tones of a Hammond organ, and the thunder of John Bonham's drums. Each song was a journey, a meticulously constructed piece of art that demanded your full attention. The originality was off the charts. Bands were pushing boundaries, creating sounds no one had ever heard before. It was a time of true musical exploration. Then came the 80s. While some might cringe at the synths and gated reverb, you can't deny the decade's iconic sound. Michael Jackson became the king of pop, blending funk, rock, and soul into something revolutionary. On the rock side, you have bands like Guns N' Roses bringing a gritty, rebellious energy back to the forefront. And let's not forget the rise of hip-hop with pioneers like Run DMC. They were sampling funk and rock, creating a whole new culture from scratch. The 80s were bold, sometimes cheesy, but always memorable. The production was slick, but the human element was still at the core. You could feel the passion, whether it was in a soaring guitar solo or a powerful vocal performance. The 90s arrived with a wave of raw, unfiltered emotion. Grunge exploded out of Seattle with bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden. Their music was a direct reaction to the gloss of the 80s. It was messy, loud, and incredibly authentic. Kurt Cobain's angst-filled lyrics spoke to an entire generation. Meanwhile, hip-hop was entering its own golden age. Artists like Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. weren't just rappers, they were poets telling vivid stories about life, struggle, and society. The production was getting more sophisticated, but the focus was still on lyrical depth and powerful storytelling. Music felt important. It had something to say. And then the 2000s hit. Something shifted. The digital revolution, which started as a tool, began to take over. Autotune went from a subtle corrective effect to a full-blown vocal style. Suddenly, everyone sounded pitch perfect, but also a little less human. The loudness wars were in full swing, with producers compressing every track to its absolute limit, sacrificing dynamic range for sheer volume. Originality started to take a back seat to formula. Pop music became dominated by a handful of super producers using the same chord progressions and song structures over and over again. Of course, there were still brilliant artists like Eminem, who pushed lyrical boundaries in hip-hop, and bands like The Strokes who tried to revive that raw, garage rock sound. But they felt more like the exception than the rule. Now, we're in an age of streaming and algorithms. Music has become content, designed to be consumed in 15-second snippets on social media. The focus has shifted from crafting timeless albums to engineering viral hits. Production is cleaner than ever, but often sterile. The nuances, the imperfections, the little bits of magic that made older music so special are often polished away. While we have incredibly talented artists today like Kendrick Lamar, who creates deeply conceptual albums, or Billie Eilish, with her unique sonic palette, the overall landscape feels saturated and homogenized. The soul of music seems to be lost in the data. That's why nostalgia is so powerful. When you hear Bohemian Rhapsody or Smells Like Teen Spirit, you're not just hearing a song. You're being transported. You remember where you were, who you were with, and how that music made you feel. It was a shared cultural experience, a soundtrack to our lives. That music had a weight to it, a permanence that feels missing today. Maybe the soul of music isn't gone forever. Maybe it's just waiting for a new generation to unplug from the algorithm, pick up a real instrument, and create something raw, honest, and truly timeless. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.